Guys, SE Spider here. This is not a speed art video or a making of video. This is more of a offer for my fellow Halo players, or forgers I should say. This video is going to be kind of late to the party because I don't have internet at home, so I have to download the videos and watch them and think of what I want to do, so forth. So I do apologize for that. This past week or so, we got some footage or some information concerning the Forge mode in the Halo Master Chief Collection, specifically for the Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer maps, the new ones. And there's a lot of good stuff in it. I'm not going to go into great detail on that. You can find a lot more videos on that. But I'll go over a few things. Let's see. One of the first things that I need to point out is fans of Forge, myself included, to a great extent, have been begging for years. I do mean years. I think, what was it? Oh yeah, almost 10 years actually. Actually more than 10 years, to be honest. We didn't have the PC work options that PC gamers had. But we've been begging for a Forge, and they finally gave it to us in Halo 3. And since then, we've been begging for certain features and so forth. And thankfully, they have delivered quite a bit over the years. Of course, they took some features away, claimed that there were some complications and so forth, which turned out to be basically lies as far as I'm concerned, as hackers have found out how to do certain things that have been there the entire time, because I didn't just disable it in Halo 4. But I'm here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the new one. One of the biggest things that forgers have been asking for is the option to create landmass. Now, a lot of the time, especially in different forums on halo.bungie.org, communitycustoms.org, or .net, excuse me, or was it .com? I can't remember now. And I do apologize for that. It's just been so long. 360style.net, communityforgers.com, the Halo community on halo.com, waypoint.com, so many different sites. The biggest one was being highimpact.com, or yeah, I think it was .com. Great site, was mostly centered around PC users. So I didn't go to it too much, but it was a pretty awesome site. Now, there's a lot of features that people wanted, like be able to create two-way shields, shield doors, where you can go in and out, but if you shoot, it doesn't work. That came from the PC side. Gamers wanting something like, creators wanting something like that option. And they delivered. I came up with a map, idea for a map, I'll show you that in a little bit, about 10 years ago actually. About 10 years ago. And one of the ideas I had for the map that I pointed out in the thread I created was the idea for a button. You press it, a shield pops up in front of the base, basically it's a bubble shield. It's just a large round shield. This is before the bubble shield came about, but in Halo 3. This is before Halo 3. The idea was that you can go through it from one side, but you cannot go through it from the other side. So anybody on the outside of that shield cannot shoot through or travel through. Not a good cause, but those on the inside could. That was the idea I had, and I wish I could find the website. I'm not online, so I can't actually look it up. I do apologize once again for that. But that's the idea I had, and a lot of people on that thread thought that was an awesome idea, and to my credit, it was. But they did not believe it was possible. And I kind of believed it had to be possible. I mean, there's too much coding that's possible in video games that for that not to be the option. Somebody just had to figure it out. Go forward about 3 years. About 3 to 5 years. Yeah, almost. Actually, I'm saying 3 years, to be honest. Halo 3 comes out, and lo and behold, we have a bubble shield, which does the exact same thing. Except for not exact same thing. The bubble shield, yeah, and you could not shoot through it, but you could walk through it. That was the first time we actually had anything like that, any options for that at all. Then comes the two-way shield, or the one-way shield, I mean, which was exactly what I was talking about years earlier, which was go through one way and block from the other side. In Forge, players use this to a great effect for race maps to get players from one point to the other, because once a character or an object hits it, it bounces off. And if you place them in certain positions, you can have players bounce all over the place, or monkeys or warthogs just bounce from one place to the other to get to cross this large gap where normally there would not be set pieces would cross because the forger, ran out. So I like to think that my idea for a one-way shield helped spawn that, because it just got the other forgers, the other creators on the PC side talking and trying to come up with ideas to figure out how to get that to work. But thankfully, Bungie figured it out, or already knew it, probably did. But they brought it to Halo. I think it was Halo Reach, and it's been used to a great effect, like I said. That's one idea I had. Now, over the years, the biggest thing that players have been asking for, or forgers I should say, was a map editor that allowed them to create terrain. And this has been discussed to a great extent in all those websites I mentioned before. From every website, every time it was discussed, Far Cry map editor came up, as with other map editors, but mostly Far Cry. Far Cry is a great game, great map editor, awesome map editor, but it's not Halo at all. Players want to know, forgers want to know, why don't we get this? Why can't we do this? Why can't we do that? And I think about a year ago, we started talking about it again in preparation for Halo 4, actually about 2 years ago. For Halo 4, so we kept talking about it, trying to figure out, why can't we do this? Why don't they just give this to us already? All other games have it, yada yada yada. And I agree with them. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It's easily possible to do. Well, not easily, but it's possible. And in today's gaming community or gaming world, you expect that in the map editor. Then comes 2014 when I'll get my hands on the Project Spark beta on the Xbox One. Before I continue, let me point out, I was living with somebody that had an Xbox One, and great guy and everything, roommate. Unfortunately, we all had to move because the house got sold, which I'm not going to go into detail on that because it's not important. But since he had the Xbox One, he of course left with it, and I moved quite a ways away where I don't have access to it. I don't even have internet, but so I don't have access to it anymore. But I do have it on my PC, and I do play with it once in a while. So unfortunately, I'm having trouble getting the computer to actually record it so I can show it to you. But I've been playing with that since February. February. No, excuse me, January of this year, which is 2014. Recreated the map. We started recreating the map. Sonic Photographer on it. A lot of people like it. I just haven't been able to go with it because I don't have money for the updates and so forth. And when I go to the library to update the software, it does not update because the internet's not fast enough. So I'm kind of stuck on that. But I'm getting off track. The thing I learned about creating maps on the same way that I never played Far Cry, at least not Forge there, just demos. So I never played with making a map or anything on it, but a lot of other people did, and I had a very good idea how it worked, and because I did on other games and so forth. Then I got my hands into the coding of Project Spark, and how to create a map, adding terrain and so forth. And I figured out this is not going to work for Halo at all, or at least not at this time. One of the reasons for that is the more terrain you add, the more of a burden you put on the poly count, which of course means that you cannot actually have multiplayer maps that work very well if all you do is focus on, well, it's not the only thing you do, but if the biggest thing you got to do is create the actual map itself through terrain creation. I'll probably pop up a video of that if I can from my working on it. But the thing is, when you create a terrain, just by painting it in, like they do in Project Spark or Far Cry, you get a lot of jagged areas. There is a lot of terrain. Once you get to it, it is just flat out ugly. And there's just points all over the place. No matter how much you smooth it, it's always a point or a little pixel or vertices that's just being a pain to deal with. And the more you mess with it, the more RAM you need to run it because it's more detailed and so forth. You can try to hide it, but if you try to hide it, there's more stuff you have to add to the map to hide it. So then you got more poly count and yada yada yada. And in such a successful and large game like Halo, that does not work because you have to deal with up to 16 people being able to go on that map and being anywhere they want to be on that map, or they allow them to be, and all that has to be processed. Now, I understand that with the cloud, it works out a lot better. Unfortunately, I'm not a fan of the cloud because if you use the cloud for computing, then you're having to send that information back and forth consistently, a lot more than you would if you did not use the cloud. And then that you got to worry about the players that have an internet cap, because let's face it, when you're playing online, there's a lot of information being transferred, and if a player has an internet cap on the provider, it bogs down the internet, it bogs down the connection, it screws up the game and so forth. So one of the things I suggested earlier this year after one of the things I mentioned earlier was suggested earlier today was, no, not today, but this year was, instead of doing the map creation like they do in Far Cry and Project Spark, why don't 343 Industries go a different route? Why don't they take elements of the map, like the terrain, chop it up in different pieces, make them whole complete pieces that we can rotate and so forth, but also move around. That way we can have this large open area and still have this beautiful map and all this terrain that we can still use. Now, I mentioned that on Halo in the thread on halo.bungie.org. I mentioned it on Halo Waypoint. I mentioned it on Facebook. I mentioned it on, what was it on? No, it wasn't High. It was Halo Forge site. Can't think of the name of it now. But I mentioned it on a lot of sites. And I mentioned it, I think, in one of my videos when I was working on the silent photographer remake in Project Spark. I think I mentioned it. Well, it might have been through a live stream. But at some point, I can't remember exactly where, but Frank O'Connell and another one, I can't think of his name. He's always on the Halo.Bungie.org. Ugh. I'm sorry, I just can't remember his name. But they mentioned, I think it was Frank that mentioned, just said, huh. That's basically all he said, I believe. Well, huh, that's an idea. And I think somebody else mentioned on Saturday replied to me on Twitter from 343. I can't remember his username or his actual name. That's really, I wish I had internet. I just look it up. But it was the idea I had, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the first one to have it. But that's something I noticed when I was watching this video. Now, like I said, I had to download these videos, then come home and watch them because I don't have much time at the library. Plus, it's too slow to actually try watching it. But one of the things they first showed was this option for terrain. So, what could this possibly be? And then they started showing it. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. That's my idea. Well, it is an idea I had, and I'm incredibly thankful that they listened to me. I'm pretty sure they did. Because, I mean, they replied, so of course they listened to me. I don't know if they're going to give me credit for it, and I really don't care if they do or not. But they are actually giving us actual terrain. Now, if you watch the menu system, when they brought it up, there's a lot of options. So it's on a terrain option. So let me see. Okay, they have flat, small, which is probably going to be the same thing as this, except for smaller, medium, of course. This is the large, cliff, and a hill. Now, I don't know what the hill is, but most likely it's probably just a regular little hill or something like that. Now you notice over here, there's the scroll bar actually has more options to it. So there's more stuff down here. So obviously it's going to be hill medium, hill large, and possibly something else. So that's awesome. The fact that they made it two-sided is even better. Yeah, this is a cliff, that's large. But if you look at this video, you notice there's a performance meter at the top, right up here. And I'm not sure if the mouse is showing up or not, but if it is, you're looking at it. Now, this is something that I'm used to from working on Project Spark. The performance meter, for those that don't know, helps determine if there's too much lag or too many items on the screen at once that can cause performance issues, which includes textures not coming in when you want them to, or popping in and out, players jumping all over the place, lag, just simple performance issues. Oop, and there was something I just missed. Oops, let me go back a little bit. Okay, cliff. Here goes the box. Yeah, nothing large. I mean, same stuff we've already had. The same models, in fact, just differently textured. That's all. Yeah. Now, one of the greatest things I think is that we have more than one option of trees, which I think they're about to show in a little bit, which is awesome. One of the things I also asked for was, why don't you just give us the option to move the trees on maps like, you call it Blood Gulch, but in Halo Reach, because all these trees are on the top, on the left side. If you're from Blue Base, on the top on the left side, we cannot access them. I mean, we can access them, but it's not actually spending much time there because of the kill zone, and you just pass right through them, so we can't move them around or anything like that. So one of the things they did was give us a lot more tree options. And if you watch this video later on, I'll probably pause it and show it to you. And there's also the option for dead trees, which is also cool. Of course, these trees can be used pretty much any way you can think of. They can be sideways, they can be upside down, so you have a stump, and so forth. But as I was saying, there's a lot more options in the game this time. I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Give it a gun boost. Oh, another thing is that you notice it looks fairly decent. The terrain, although it's still muddy and everything looking, there's some green in it and there's some textures. So it does look good. Now, this is the cool part. So I'm going to pause it, back up a little bit. Now, we go forward. And then pause it. Okay. This is the cool part. Now, the object count is not based on money, digital money this time. It's actually based on item count, which is a lot better idea. That's the same thing that they do in Project Spark and other programs and games to help you determine what you can and cannot use. The money count system, although is effective, it did not work too well because that means you were only allowed to use certain number of items. So that caused other issues. Now, I'll back up a little bit. Back up. And pause it. Now, these are all 14, so let me check, see what happens when you're going to add 3 of them, I think. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4. No, that's 3. Okay, now it's 11 this time, which makes sense because this 14 take away 3 is 11. Duh. Unless you're on Common Core. But I want to skip forward a little bit more. See if I can get to something else quick. Now he added 3 more items, which was the cliff. You just repeat it 3 times and let's see what happens. Rocks. Now, notice it's still 98, so we still have the limited number of items we can use for each item. I'm not sure if anybody's noticed that or not, but I don't like that, to be honest. If I just want to use a whole bunch of walls, that means I can only use a certain amount of walls. They're fairly cheap. In Halo, on my ship collection, that might be a lot more. But I feel we should be able to use 650 walls if we wanted to, or things like that. Now, that would be awesome. But then I started thinking that'd be cool, but each item has a different poly count, and because they have a different poly count, those with more poly counts cause more of a drag on the system, and if you have 650 of them, it could cause the system to crash and so forth. a lot more lag and so forth, and just flat out performance issues. So, oops, sorry, I got a text message. Check that out later. I'll mute this real quick. Okay. And that's why we still have those. Now we have a lot more than you would think. I mean, that's a lot of rocks. A lot more than we would normally have in Halo 4 and so forth, but that's because we're on the Xbox One. And it's capable of doing a lot more. So let me just get back to this. Now you notice here's a tree right here by the cursor on the left side. It's the same, it looks like the same type of tree you've had before. But if you look all the way to the left, on the edge of the island, you see another tree. And it looks really flat, but it's wider than these other ones that they've been showing. Now, the fact that we are able to create terrain is awesome, because now we can create huge maps and do all these things we actually want to do. And another cool thing is, let's skip forward a little bit. Now we have the option to have doors or buttons, as it were. Now, I want to point out we need to thank Pete the Duck for this, because Pete the Duck is the one that's become so popular and creating all these attractions for games like rock, paper, scissors, and so forth. And he put a lot of work into doing that, and it works very well for the most part, considering that what he had to go through to get that to work, and all the thinking he had to go through to get that to work. It's incredible. The other thing he created was musical chairs. That seems simple, but once you try to do something like that in Forge, Halo 3, Halo Reach, Halo 3, or Halo 4, you notice you cannot make things just disappear when you want them to. So he came up with a stacking system and used teleporters to force people up. And if they didn't get in the chair, the teleporter would teleport them off the map into a kill zone, which would kill them. And the teleporter zone was only so high, but just so high. And if you weren't in it, you're gone. But if you were in it, you're gone. So he's just genius when it comes to Forge. Let's just face it. If you have not checked out his last Forge Standing competition from, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, I was part in it and I made it all the way to the end. I did not win, spoiler alert, but it's one of the greatest experiences I've had in Halo or any gaming community. I loved it, and I would love to take part in it again one day. If he ever does it again, go check out his channel. I'll put a link in the description so you can check it out. But because he became so popular doing that, 343 hired him to do some videos and put it on Halo Waypoint, and he just became popular and more popular because of that, and became accustomed to working with 343. And they obviously took notice of it, because now we have controls, and instead of just giving us buttons that let us open and close doors, they went a step further and looked at what Pete was doing and what people were doing in Project Spark, and kind of combined them. So now everything is a very supposedly very simple scripting setup. So if you want to say, if you push this button, you want all the doors to open, you can make it do that. But you can also have it open up all the doors and blow up all the cars, or also have it spawn other items. Which is simply awesome that they went that far, that they listened to us. So I want to thank Pete for that, and as well as Firewolf and others. But I'll show this to you in case you have not seen it. I got audio muted. But yeah, that's the EMP blaster from the game, the Blood Gulch remake. That's once you press the button, it actually causes all the cars or vehicles to stop working. But that's part of the script. We don't have to have it do that, which let's show us right now. So they got to go into actual play mode to play. I'll test it. So let's skip forward, skip forward, skip forward. See if I can find something. Okay. Up, down, no. You wash. So they had 4 demos, which means there's probably going to be another demo soon. I mean 2 demos, excuse me. Look at those settings. I'll let you pause for that. Load. Takes a while to load, I noticed that. Not a big fan of that. But it's part of the creating maps. So, come on. You can do it. Go ahead. Oops, skipped it. See, you press the button to cause it EMP, which showed all the static. Now, this one does the same thing, but except for causing an EMP, it basically completely removes all of the vehicles. And to do that, it's just very simple scripting, but it just blows them up. And if you're in that area, you're pretty much doomed. Of course, this map's, if they release this map, it's not going to have that option. It's not like this exactly, but because this is just a demo. Now, you notice there's a gate here that we can open and close. Also, same option, same little interface. Now, my guess is we can probably assign. Hopefully, we can assign the scripting to more than just those control panels. Hopefully, we can put them on things like rocks or cars or just boxes. Now, this gate right here is actually from the first Sandfall remake that was in Halo 3. Now, you might be wondering, okay, that's cool and all, that's awesome, and it is. Now, this gate is actually going into the ground. Okay. Now, see if I can pause it a little bit. Now watch it. Okay, it just goes in the ground before it disappears. Now, if you're wondering, okay, because since it goes in the ground, if I flip it upside down, you know, that allows me to have the gate come up. Well, yes, it will, but unfortunately, the way games work, to save on processing power and so forth, I'm guessing, well, I want to assume that that gate is actually going to disappear once it goes out of sight, normally. So if you turn this gate upside down, the gate might not come back to where you can use it again. It might just, just disappear. And which is fine, because I'm pretty sure we can open and close this gate with the controls normally. But let's skip forward a little bit. Now this one, same contraption, but you can also script it to spawn vehicles or other items. Now, if you watched this video, you heard the IGN guy say, I did not realize that there was teleportation capabilities in the Halo universe yet. Well, that's the first time that somebody does not play Halo. Well, not very much, because we have teleporters in Halo. So, that was just a stupid statement. Sorry, it was. But here's another switch that you can option. This one you can shoot at and have it open and close doors. Now this is the same gate. There's just 2 of them, and that means you can actually have that gate, have that switch operate more than one gate. Okay. So this is the other thing. I'm not happy about this. I am, but I'm not at the same time. They mentioned in this video that all this water that we're able to access is only about 2 feet deep. That's a problem, because if you want to forge something in the water, or something that's deep in the water, you can't do it because, well, there's no water to work in. Now, if we could raise and lower the water level, that'd be awesome. That'd be pretty cool. I mean, it'd be nice if we could just raise it to maybe, I don't know, well, 50 feet if we wanted to. And it'd be even better if we could actually time it or script it so that when you press a button, it releases something like a dam, which is stupid, but because there's no water physics in Halo, but not actual water physics. But it'd be pretty cool if you do that and there'd be a danger. So say if you don't leave this area at a certain point, then you're going to, or before they hit this button, it's going to cause the water level to rise and you're probably going to drown. Or you'll be forced to move very slowly. And that would be a pretty cool thing to have. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get that option. And unfortunately, this water is only 2 feet deep. Now, I believe the reason they did this is because players on forges in Halo Reach and Halo 4 on Forge World and Forge Island wanted to build a water section, but every time they did, the items would actually fall and they place them and then just lose them. So that's probably why they did this, so we can find stuff a lot easier. But also so that we can have items, go from one area to the other, from one island to the other if we wanted to. Or you just give us the option to put the terrain in the ground between those islands so we can. That would make a lot more sense. But, I'll take it. So there's something I want to show you. Let's get through. There is one. There it is. In the top corner, right corner, you see some trees. Those trees appear to be dead. So that's another so there's at least 3 to 4 different trees we can actually use, just different sizes. The other thing that they pointed out was another Banshee skin, which is pretty cool. I like that they put that in, especially because now we can actually have different types of Banshees on each team, or at least 2 teams. So that's pretty cool. Now, this is the other thing I was talking about, another scripting option. You can actually have unscripted so that it spawns in buildings, race courses, pretty much anything you want to. More than one thing if you wish. And because of all the versatility in it, you can actually go into Forge mode and recreate old maps like Battle Creek and so forth. Now, I don't understand why people like this map so much, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of it. But it's something you can make now. So that's pretty cool. Now, I'm going to go back on about something else. Let's see. Which one was it? Yep. This is what I was talking about. This is the map I created about 10 years ago. Still on my house, still have it. I never did much to it after that. Never went anywhere because I don't know much about 3D at the time. But if I do a run through of it, now I need to point out this is not a game. This is just it's not set up for a game. This is just a little walkthrough in 3D mode. So you see this little entranceway, tunnel you can take. Just back outside. little you call it energy shield, yeah, energy walkway. I don't know if it's bridge, I mean, a light bridge, that's it. I don't know if I had that option in Forge on Master Chief Collection, but if we do, we'll just use anything. It'd be nice if you just have this set as a button that you press and make it appear. We don't really need it to. Ooh, there we go. Oops. Like I said, this is not set up for game mode, so I can't pass through the walls easily. It's going so slow. But like I said, this is outside the gate, so there's more than one option, one way in. But this is not to scale, at least not fully. But this is an idea. This is basically a cave. I want this to, hitting myself again. This is my proposal. This is the map I've been wanting to see made for, like I said, 10 years. And they, the fact that they've not actually made this map professionally, Bungie or 343 Industries, a bit upsetting because it's a design that's screaming to be made. And I'm pretty sure they're doing a much better job than me. This is just very basic. And I do mean very, very basic. So there's no real details on this. Very low poly count too. It's only about, actually, there's 5,076 vertices and 6,390 places. So it's not very much. But like I said, this was just more of a concept that I was playing with. Now, like I said, this is maybe a cave that's actually meant to be a much, much taller, like a wall. And the idea was that these be, you can shoot these down and have them fall on people or vehicles and cause damage, much like they do in Waterworks on Halo 2. Now, in case you're wondering what all this other stuff is, why is this? This is obviously a very big map. It's designed to be a big map, so. But the idea is that players can come up here and shoot inside this cave from a distance, from up above, or jump down, or just travel. Now, the idea was that a scorpion tank could fit in that little opening. Just drive up this ramp and go up there and into it. But that might be a bit much. But this is an idea. All these little rock faces and so forth is the purpose for one to be supposed to be covered, so so you won't be completely out in the open. But this is another section of the map. The opening up here that you can travel through for cover if you need to, just to get away. Like I said, this is probably like a large cliffside, so nobody can climb it. And dead end over here, I believe. Yeah, dead end. This is the place where the base is supposed to be, at least one of them. So there's a fairly wide and long hallway, and the base is supposed to be in this section right here. And players are supposed to be able to go in through the back and go downstairs. Once they go downstairs, yeah, like I said, it's my concept, so there's a lot of open space. There's an even bigger room. And that's supposed to look like doors or that don't go anywhere. But this is probably like a secret forerunner section of the map. So this can be and normally, originally, there was going to have a glass window that showed through to the top, which I think is still possible, or just have the players fall through. This is the other side. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. a little bit faster. Just don't go through the wall. And I'm at 4. Okay. But yeah, that's basically the layout. The inside of the cave is obviously supposed to be big enough for a scorpion tank, and this original idea was that it just be opened up and have a gantry here or something that you grab and fly out and go to the other side and shoot people or goblins, whichever you prefer. Now these are supposed to be rocks because it's a cave in right here. And in case you're wondering, why is there a cave in there? A cave in. You back up a little bit. Hopefully the stalactites won't come down. Okay. The reason for that is because when you go to top view, oops. It's actually kind of hard to see it here, but it's actually supposed to be the classic Legendary Emblem on the first Halo game. Just set up to be a map. Of course, all this section, like I said, this is just a concept, so it's not to scale or anything. But this is basically like a large cliff, so nobody can go on top of it. This is supposed to be an island, in fact. That's supposed to be surrounded by water. If they wanted to, it should be able to go out here, out through this section, all around the emblem. Let me get out of oops. Nope, that didn't work. Okay, well, I guess I won't do that. But the idea is that players can traverse pretty much anywhere they wish to. One idea I had was that the bases, like I said, base 1, base 2, large open area for them to cross, or cave in a way. And each base has a teleporter that takes them to the corresponding, the opposite sword. So if you're at this base, top right corner, teleporter takes you to the bottom right corner, which is where all the vehicles would be, which you probably have locked up or so forth in Master Chief Collection. And that's one version. I started playing with this a little bit more and came up with this. Oops. Now it's not much different. I mean, it's basically the same thing. Oops. Except for inside the cave, now we have a little bit of a structure. Still have to cave in because that's where the emblem, that's where the gunshot is. But now there's a little bit of a pathway that goes up, that goes to the banshee or whatnot. In the middle, it can either be water that leaked in, or it can be a large glass wall. Okay, like I said, it's a very simple version of it. Early version, I believe. You get this out of the way. Now down below is a different version. Come on, work mouse. A different version of the Forerunner tech, but the idea is pretty much the same. Glass wall setup, ceiling and so forth, shoots through or whatnot, light, yada yada yada. And inside will be the entrance. Oops, can't get to it. But yeah, this is the idea I have that I've been wanting to get done. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it in Master Chief Collection because I don't have the game or the console to do it. But this is my proposal. If somebody is willing to help me get this created, like I said, that'll be all cliff wall so that nobody can climb up. So nobody can climb up on top. There'd be like an island or something where there'd be a banshee here, or falcon, whatever you want it to be, or nothing. But people rush in and fight to get to it and use it to get into bases a lot easier, or just attack. Now it's going to be overpowered, of course, so I'll leave that up to you. I just would love to see this map made. I mean, like I said, it doesn't have to be exact. I'll keep doing that. But as long as it looks like the map, I mean the emblem, I mean. And then we can talk about it, making changes to it as we progress. This is like I said, this is still a very early concept. That's 10 years old. I never got into working on. There's another version I worked on, but I don't know where that's at. But yeah, if anybody's willing to create this map, I'll be greatly in debt to you. Well, I'll be very thankful. Now, I draw pretty much anything you would like me to draw for you for free, of course, in return. As long as there are some sales to how the map turns out. But it's an idea I've been wanting to see done for over 10 years. And now that I believe we have the option to get it done for the most part. Might not fully be possible, but it's got to be close. You know, we're a lot closer to getting it done now than ever before in console version of the game. But yeah, if anybody's willing to make this in the Master Chief Collection, you know, of course, the Halo 2 anniversary map, of course, it's simply one with water. Because if you look at the other one I've created, let me bring it up. Oh, that was this one. I added water to it, and the idea was, you know, very basic water. The idea was that part of the map be underwater or have water in it. Of course, like I said, it'd be an island. It doesn't have to be exact like this. But the idea is that the original idea was that the water be inside the cave. So that's one option. It's not the only option, of course. But being a cave, you can't expect there to be water in it somewhere. Maybe add some more structures in here or something for winter light, and maybe some walkways and so forth. But yeah, this is an idea, just an idea I had that I would love to see get made eventually, somehow. Because it's kind of screaming to be made. Just wish I went somewhere with it. Yeah, that's the other thing. I won't be able to have this walkway into the ground because of all the water. You have no control over that. Oops. Yeah. If anybody's willing, let me know, and if you need the 3D model, I'll be happy to give it to you. I'll give you the entire file. But this is opened up with Blender, where this version works as well. It's a very simple map, nothing to it really, just concept. That's it. And I can give you both versions actually. It's a lot less for this one than it is the other one. But this is something I would love to see made, and I'll create pretty much any image that you'd like me to create for your YouTube channel, for your banner, forum, banner, whatnot. It's up to you. I will not create anything that's against my beliefs, so I will not do any porn or anything like that. I need to point out I am a born again Christian, and if you would like me to create something that promotes, homosexuality or Christianity or anything at all on that scale, I'm not going to do it. I'm not putting those two together because they're not the same thing. But it's, yeah, I'm not going to do anything that's against my beliefs. But I will create images for you if you need me to. A little bit of 3D stuff. I've created introductions for YouTube introductions for create Spartan. Created some YouTube banners and stuff for AvidX. I've created 3D scenes. I've created a few things in my over the years. This one I created just for Halloween for myself. Never did anything to it with it, but this is not even finished yet. But if there's something I can do to help you out in return for creating this, let me know. Of course, I gotta get quite a bit ways into creating the actual map so I can see it's being made before I actually do. Now, if you get tired of working on it or get bored with it, I understand. You just pass it to somebody else. And that way everybody gets credit for it. But yeah, just anything, if anybody's willing to create this, please let me know. And I'll send you the files or images or whatnot. Like I said, this is super basic. This is probably much higher. So these walls as well. But yeah, just let me know. I wish I could get my hands on the actual game and just do it myself. And if I could, I would. Unfortunately, that's not an option, and it sucks. But if anybody's willing, please let me know. Right, this is SC Sparta signing out, and hope you all have a blessed night. Right, thank you. Bye bye.